Hi, I'm Jan Thomsen, the Global Communication Director, and welcome to this liveware about the communication funnel. In this liveware, we will look at a communication strategy and 4 steps on how you can become a more effective communicator. So why are we talking about communication, or specifically a communication strategy? Let me give you a few examples of why communication is so important. All of us know McDonald's. It is the world's largest fast food chain restaurant, and it is probably in every country around the world. But few people know that in 1940 it was only a barbecue restaurant. Morris and Richard McDonald's started selling hamburgers for just 10 cents. And they are not the reason why McDonald's is so popular today. It is Ray Kroc, a businessman, that knew something about marketing. He opened up many different McDonald's restaurants throughout the US, and more people actually knew about McDonald's. I believe that even though the hamburgers were very good in the beginning, but the problem was no one knew about it. So it is because of Ray Kroc that McDonald's became famous. Another example is about Nokia. They help us to understand why communication is important. Did you know that 7 years before Apple announced their iPhone, Nokia produced a smartphone? So the question I asked immediately, why did no one buy it? And the answer is very simple, because they never came out with it. They never communicated to the public that they had a smartphone. I believe all of us know how important communication is, whether you're on Pace or in a church or in a business. You won't find a successful company without a communication strategy. In Romans 10, Paul talks about the importance of communication. How then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? And how can anyone preach unless they are sent? With this in mind, let's look at our first workshop. Think of an idea you want to communicate. If you're watching this in a team, I would suggest you come up with one idea. After that, draw 2 tombstones, both representing your idea and the death of it, and write on the left one, what would happen if no one knew about your idea? And on the right one, what would happen if people heard about it? You have 5 to 10 minutes for that. I hope you enjoy this workshop. I hope that helped you to understand how important it is not to just have a great idea, but actually communicate it. So now the question is, how do we do that? Let me give you an illustration of how communication works. Communication always starts with communication. And that sounds simple, but we often forget that. You need to tell people about your idea. And then there will be people that will be interested in that, and some of them won't be. And very few people actually support you or join your cause. So if you would draw that, you would end up with a funnel. You have more people at the top than at the bottom, people that join you. On Pace, for example, our goal is to lead someone from the first time they heard about Pace to the point they actually join Pace. And we know not everyone we talk to joins Pace, so again, we have less people at the bottom. Important to remember is that every person is going through this funnel. But there are a few stages within this funnel, and on Pace we call them spread, spot, stay, and send. Paul Gibbs discovered this principle in Luke 10. It is based on how Jesus sent out his disciples. On Pace, it is how we do mission and discipleship. I applied it to communication, and I want to explain how each stage looks like. The first stage is called spread. Tell as many people without deciding in advance who will respond. At this stage, there are 2 things very important to remember. The first one is tell as many people as possible. That means you don't just tell 5 people, but as many people. Maybe 500 or 5,000. The second thing is something many people miss, and that is don't decide in advance who might support you. Don't decide who might be interested in your idea, but tell everyone. Don't say no for the other person. At this stage, it's all about grabbing their attention, having this initial contact and telling them about your idea. If you don't tell people about your idea, nothing else really matters. The second stage is spot. We say, give people an opportunity to respond. How do you see whether people are interested in your idea? You need to give them the opportunity to respond. If you don't give them a way to show that they are interested, you have no idea whether they want to support you, whether they want to join you, and you have no way to spot these people to invest in them. Just recently, someone asked me to give feedback for a newsletter. And I read through that, and it was he had great stories he shared, and I was very inspired by reading it. But the problem was that at the bottom there was no next step for the reader to take. How disappointing is that if someone wants to support you, wants to join you, but there is no way for him to do that? If you don't give people the opportunity to respond, they won't join or support you. But if we give them the opportunity to respond, and we have to stay with them and build a relationship. So we say, stay with people without looking for a better offer. When you see that someone is interested in your idea, you need to stay with them and build a relationship. Don't invest in the people that haven't showed an interest, but stay with the people that lean forward and build a relationship. And after a while, some of them will join the movement, some of them will support you. And sometimes we say, great, that's it, they support us, and we stop there. But the problem is there is one more thing, and that is send. When you tried to get the word out in the first stage, there were people that rejected your idea. They didn't know you, or they didn't want to listen to you. At the last stage, it's all about sending and equipping those that joined you to reach out with you, to reach even more people. For the next workshop, I want you to think about your idea and what you could do in each stage. Discuss with your group what you think the most important stage is. Also think about whether you neglected any of these stages in the past. You have 10 minutes for this workshop. Hope you enjoy it. I'd be interested in your ideas for each stage. You can send them to me to communication@pacemovement.com. For the next part, I would like to show you what we actually do on Pace. So if you are on Pace, I hope it's a great reminder why we do them, and maybe you can even take them and improve them. If you're not on Pace, I hope that this will inspire you to think about what you can do for each stage. The first one is spread. One of the ways we spread the word about Pace is through social media. Every day we post on social media and get the word out there. But we don't just post on one social media site, but we use many different ones to reach as many people as possible. Another thing we do is we use literature to spread the word. Paul Gibbs, the founding director of Pace, has written some fantastic books on different topics, and we use them to share the idea of Pace. We also use portions of the books and send them to pastors. It is a great way to see whether they are interested in Pace or in one of the distinctives. And that's where we enter the second stage, and that is spot. To spot people who are leaning forward, we give an opportunity to respond on everything we do. On social media, we have call to actions. We invite people to learn more or apply. On everything we do, there is a way and a next step you can take. Whether it's on our newsletter or on our website, you will always find a link or a button where you can take a next step, where you can learn more or contact us. Life Shapes is another thing we use to spot people. It is our personality appraisal, and you can find that on our website. When people fill in the appraisal, we have the opportunity to contact them after that talk about their result, whether they like the test and whether they're interested in more. To stay with people, these are a few things we do on Pace. For everyone that sign up, we send them a regular newsletter about the things that are happening on Pace. Another way is View Pace, a private dinner, invitation only, with a very small amount of people. There is a lot of interaction, they can ask questions, we have a great meal and we share about Pace. Similar to that, we make sure that key people like Paul Gibbs have time in the diary to spend time with people that are leaning forward. So we want to invest in people that show an interest or want to support Pace. We do that by sending Paul to businesses to consult them or coach key people in churches or in businesses. To send people, we encourage everyone on Pace to use their personal profiles on social media to share about Pace, using their connections they have and the people they know, because I can't reach everyone and I don't know everyone. Another thing is we discovered that personal profiles are the best way to actually spread the word. You are more likely to engage with a person you know than with an organization that you don't really know. At this stage, it's very important to remember it's all about equipping and resourcing them. That's why we give access to thousands of pictures and videos they can use to share on social media. And as I mentioned before, I hope this is a great reminder or inspiration for you, what you can do for each stage. You can even take some of these ideas and improve them and send them to me so we can improve our communication on Pace as well. For the last workshop, I want you to look at your diagram and think about your weakest stage of the communication funnel. Next, think about 3 to 5 action items you can do to improve this area. And after that, delegate to your team the responsibility for each action point. I hope that this LiveWire was helpful to you to understand the importance of communication and how to become a more effective communicator. I hope you enjoy this workshop and have a good time communicating.